What is up, YouTube? This is Carl here. In this video, we're going to explain why I took off my eBay turbo manifold. Let's get right into it. So, no, I am not getting rid of my eBay manifold for a better quality manifold. Really, all I'm doing is some preventative maintenance so that I don't really have to deal with this in the future. You may or may not have to do this, depends on how risky you want to be, but I kind of decided that I'd rather just do it now. So, let me show you what I had to do. So there are a couple people around on Facebook groups and the forums that have experience with this manifold, and there are a couple recommendations that some of them are making based on their experiences. If you're familiar with the OEM exhaust manifolds, there is a separation between cylinders 3 and 4. In this case, I created some relief cuts between cylinders 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 to provide some room for thermal expansion. Not sure how much that's going to help, but some people are claiming that it does help. I was fortunate enough to use a bandsaw. You could probably do this with an angle grinder. You just got to be careful. Use the tools that you have at your disposal. So there's the first cut. Ate away at my blade quite a bit, but we'll deal with it. I decided that instead of cutting in between each runner, I'm just going to cut this one and this one, so it's split into 3 sections. Super ghetto setup. I got the jack holding this side up because I don't have any other way to fixture this. Machining is a little bit rough on this flange, but again, I don't think it's going to be much of an issue. Here's the turbo side. Okay, nothing crazy over here. Machining is a little bit rough on this side. You can kind of see the machining marks from the mill going across the flange. Shouldn't really affect the function of the part. I mean, overall, for 70 bucks, can you really complain about this? Now, the people that have this manifold claim that the mating surfaces, including the head to manifold and the turbo to manifold, as well as the wastegate, aren't necessarily flat. So some people are getting them precision machined and they're just milling the face. Some people are just sanding them off. In my case, I just sanded these surfaces using a granite slab. Now all I did was tape some 150 grit sandpaper to this block and ran it along the flanges. Just make sure you're consistent and not putting too much pressure on one side of the flange or the other. Just run it back and forth consistently. Now I'm sure most of you don't have access to a granite slab like I do, so I'm sure you could get away with either a belt sander or some sort of sanding block. Again, just make sure you're consistent in the way that you pass the sandpaper over the flanges, and you should be good to go. This is what I ended up with. As you can see, there are some spots that are still high, like right here. You can still see some of the fly cutter marks. Unfortunately, that's about as good as I can get it. So I've done enough sanding for now. I'm probably just going to toss it in like this. And here is the turbo side. It's almost like it's visual at this point, but my finger is not a good measurement system, so I think we'll just leave it at that. And there's the wastegate. I'm also going to be swapping out these cheap perforated gaskets because a lot of people are claiming that these blow out. So I bought some OEM, I think these are E36 or E39 metal gaskets, and I'm also going one step further by using this copper gasket. So I'm going to be spraying it on this gasket from the gasket to the manifold and from the gasket to the head. I'm also going to be using this spray for the turbo and the wastegate, so kind of double protection, I guess you would say. And just like that, the turbo and manifold are back in the car. Just gotta bolt everything back up. And then one last thing before we end this video, I have my hot side intercooler piping right here, and I'm actually gonna wrap it in some gold tape to lower my IATs. I was originally gonna do the turbo elbow as well, but it's not really gonna stick, I don't think. So might as well use the tape and tape up this this pipe. And that looks absolutely horrendous, but I don't care. You're not gonna be able to see that anyway. Alright, so that is it for this video. I know it was really short, but I just wanted to let you guys know what I'm up to, because really this wasn't part of the plan, nor was it part of my video schedule. So just want to let you guys know what I'm up to. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.